Of course, happy 4th of July, everybody. So, 4th of July, missed it last year, was waiting for this all year. Evan Adams, Arian White, Dalton Tam, Nick Ayers, why can I say that except for when it's time to say it? Nick Ayers, and Matias Rosales. Now, I know some of these requests for 1, a campfire version, and 2, the way Chris Cornell did it on acoustic. I think it would be really good to have a good understanding of how it's done on electric before we do either of those, so this will be sort of a step in that direction anyways. But yeah, the first thing is the tuning, and the tuning is in standard tuning, except it's 4 half steps lower. So let's walk you through figuring that out so you don't have to remember what all the notes are. 4 half steps lower than E. Picture your E. This is, my guitar's already in the right tune, so it won't be the right notes. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. So C. The next one, A, right? 5th fret of the E string in standard tuning. 1, 2, 3, 4, F. Then we're on the D string, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is B flat, or A sharp. Now the G string, let's do G up here so we can go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is D sharp or E flat. Then we got the B string, 1, 2, 3, 4 goes to G, and the E string, of course, goes to C. And now your guitar is relatively in the same tuning, but it's much, much lower. That'd be a C chord. Weird. All right, here's the deal. So I don't know if it's just that the register is so foreign that I'm having real trouble making sense of this song. So I'm going off the Live at Hyde Park, London, 4th of July, 2014 video that you can find on YouTube, and I'll kind of walk you through it, give you a timestamp for where I am and what I'm seeing, and that way it'll be a kind of, sort of, interactive sort of kind of video. Anyways, the intro is straightforward, and what we have is 3, 3 on the low strings, on the E. It used to be E and the A strings. Now this is awesome, and we call it muddy when you can't quite tell what it is you're listening to, because a root and a 4th is what it is. Power chords are usually root 5ths. That's not what it is. It's root 4th. Just gives it that sour sound that's just perfect, and especially because it's so low. So 3s, and then you give the 2nd fret a wiggle on the way down to the 1st fret, but now we're gonna do an F power chord. A would-be F. I'm gonna call everything what it would be in standard tuning. And then a quick open there before we go to 2 in our root 4th again, both 2nd fret. So 3s, wiggle on the way to F power chord, open 2s. More time, and then the last time, of course. It just hangs on that last one for longer. Detail hardly worth mentioning. The 2nd time on the record, it sounds like he wiggles the 3rd fret. It almost doesn't matter when the strings are so low. It all kind of sounds the same, but that's what I think happened. Yeah, so do that when you feel like it. Okay, the verse is much like the intro, but it's an A-B situation. So it does one thing, then the other thing, then the first thing again, then the other thing again. So we start the same, but now on the 2, we keep chugging fast like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up to 3, but make it a power chord. 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th beat there, it's a wiggle on A4. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then it does the B part, which is just the intro. Alright, so both parts. In that video to which I'm referring, you see Chris not do that low open E in the middle of that riff. He just hangs strings on the F before he does the rest of it, but on the record there is definitely the open E, so yeah. Now in the B section of the verse, they're not like the A-B section, but the next section of the verse, when there's something about the wind, the F and the G sort of trade roles. So it starts off with your G, power chord, with the wiggle on A4, going down to the F, muddy F, root 4th F, both in the 1st fret, and then you wiggle the E string 2nd fret, and then open E followed by A7 down to 5, give it a very lazy bend up, and then 7, 5, 7. So timestamp time. I'm at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds in this video. Now on the record, it sounds to me like it's a B power chord on the 7th fret of the E string, like a 3-finger one, and then sliding down, or moving down rather, to a D power chord with an A in the bass, so 5, 5, 7. This is where Chris ends up at 2 minutes and 40 seconds in the aforementioned video, but his hand starts down here for that B, so either way you do it, it's the same, but it looks like he's barring and maybe or maybe not using his pinky finger for, this is why I want to mention this, so you can look at it and listen to it and decide for yourself what the answer is, or maybe it is different on the record and on that particular version, but you could do that the same way, an E power chord with a B in the bass for the first one and go. But hear how muddy that E with a B in the bass sounds. Not like in a bad way, but it just doesn't sound like that situation on the record. But there it does. The bass goes down to A, it used to be A, and the guitar has a D power chord going with an A in the bass. Anyways, if you wanted to do what I think he's doing in the video, it'd be 2, 2, 4 on A, D, G. Then you go on just the E string, 5, 4, or you can make those octaves if you want. And then, I forget. Bend E3, the G note, and then on the live version it's just open A twice. You could also do that on the E string 5th fret, of course, if you don't like jangly open strings, particularly jangly open strings in this tuning, and then bend the A string 5th fret. That's the first half, there's a second half, but I can't keep all this in my brain. So either this, or this, for the first half. Okay. Phew. Okay, the second half is exactly the same, except for those E string 5th fret twice. You bend the A string 7th fret before you bend the 5th fret. So first half, second half. Here we go. I like the B power chord better, so I'm doing that. You could also do that here. But he's definitely not using 2 fingers. He might even just have A and D 2, and then he might just go to E and A5, eschewing that 5th of the aforementioned D. All great, all great. Anyways. Second half. Alright, so the rhythm of the solo is the A section from the section we just did, the first half. And I just want to point out something really neat about when you do that D power chord with the A in the bass. It makes it really convenient to do octaves going down because your or whatever finger you're using, hopefully yours, your pinky finger and your pointer finger are already in position. So you just mute the A string before you do your... That's the rhythm solo section. Re-listen listening to the record and feel very confident with my regular B power chord assessment, not the E power chord with the B in the bass, which you can, again, also do there. Either way, this seems more convenient to me, but you pick. Also have to mention, I'm so scatterbrained on this song, I'm sorry, that when you do that E string 3rd fret bend, there's clearly a higher octave of it happening also. Don't think it's all the same guitar because it's really hard to do both of those at the same time. I mean, you can do it, but it sounds like a big giant mess, so I would guess that either Chris did 2 takes or Kim did the high one. So, yeah. Alright, so our solo, think of as the E minor pentatonic scale with some differences, just so you have a familiar spot, from which to diverge, which of course is 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15. But the solo starts on the 14th fret of that B string, and you bend it. Gives it a curious sort of major sound feel there. So bend B14, down to 12, then bend B15, and then bend E. There's so much bending in this. Bending and wiggling. Sounds like a Beatles song. Okay. Title of a song. This does not sound like a Beatles song. Okay, bend E15. And end up down on E12. Second chunk starts the same. But now we're going to G14. 12, hammer on, pull off, and then some, noodlings around there. Or just whatever you like. Have you had to retune your guitar 8 times already? I have. Third chunk starts the same. But now go 2 frets higher on that B string. And you're messing around with 15 and 17 on B. And then the last chunk has a lower octave double guitar doing roughly the same thing, so it makes it sound like a cool mess. But roughly, start the same. But now we're going to go B15, and then to G14, B15, 12, and then go to G14, and this is the 2 becomes 1 move we always talk about, when G14 becomes the note that B12 is. So you land on G14, and B12, bend the G string but not the B string, then unbend your G string down to 12, and then hammer on, pull off 12, 14, and end up on G11, roughly. So, I think there were a couple more hammer on pull-offs in there, but hammer on and pull off to your heart's content. And of course the rhythm for the last chunk of the solo combines what it was doing with the intro, so... And this is where it becomes the intro. And it does this like 42 times, right? 42. Yay! And those are the pieces. We made it through. I didn't mention that many timestamps. It's kind of sort of started to make sense as I was talking about it, but that's why teaching's the best way to learn, right? Last thing to mention is I said it can't possibly be, the same person playing both those octaves. Listening to it, they are so well timed that I don't think it can possibly be 2 people, so I have no idea how. See, that sounds good, but you gotta... You gotta pluck each string separately. I don't really know how that might have happened, but you can do it if you want. I'm getting better. Octaves. Yeah, so there you go. He just didn't do both of them at the same time in that one live video. Sounds like it on the record. Thank you so much for being here for 4th of July. As the way I see it, we have 2 more 4th of July videos to do. It's the campfire version somehow in standard tuning. I don't know if that's going to be any good. And also the one of how Chris did it solo acoustic, because he was doing more like, he turned these wacky root 4 things into entire chords. So all things to look forward to. See you next time with more stuff. Thank you for being here. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Goodbye.